Guys, today I want to talk to you about how to appeal a Social Security overpayment notice and win. You are not alone if you have received one of those terrifying letters. They're becoming more and more common, but this situation can be fixed and there are ways to get help. So I want to walk you through that step by step so that you don't need to panic. Now, I want you to understand this doesn't mean that you did anything wrong. A lot of times the Social Security Administration itself may have been the one that made the mistake. But no matter the cause, they're going to try to recoup that overpayment back from you. And it can be quite painful. They can take 50% or in some cases even more of the amount of your check each month until they get that amount back. And that can be absolutely crippling. So today we're going to talk about what causes these problems and what you can do to protect your check if you get one of these terrifying notices. Now, there are some common reasons why overpayments happen. Sometimes income changes, and if you're on SSI and you're not reporting those income changes, it can trigger an overpayment, right? A lot of the overpayments that happen affect people who are on SSI. It can happen on SSDI or, other things too, but it's just way more common on SSI because of all of the reporting requirements. So if you are on SSI and you don't report your changes in marital status, your living arrangements with others, or household resources, that can cause problems. And sometimes we've heard from people who have inherited a life insurance policy, or someone bought a life insurance policy for them, or even a policy to cover funeral arrangements, and then that messed up the asset limits, and now they have an overpayment. A lot of times when you see the news reports that somebody had like a $20,000, $40,000, $60,000 overpayment, it's because of something like that they just had no idea was even an issue. It can happen to SSDI as well or other benefits. You just need to remember a lot of their computations are run through the computers. And if they make a miscalculation, if there's missing information in the system, if there's delayed processing of paperwork or they missed something and it got messed up, they're still going to come at you for an overpayment, even if it's their fault. So you need to make sure that you are diligent in reporting and following up if you are on SSI. Now, if you get one of these notices, the first thing you need to do is read your overpayment notice carefully. You're going to want to look at the amount, the total amount of the overpayment, and which specific months are involved. Make sure those dates make sense to you. You also want to verify the reason. Why do they think that you were overpaid? Does their explanation actually match what occurred in your life? Is there anything you can identify that may have been the cause of that? Another thing you're going to need to do is read carefully over the paperwork that you receive, because it's going to talk about what you need to do, whether you want to repay it or whether you want to appeal it or request a waiver if you can't afford it. We're going to go over those steps with you as well here, but it's important to make sure that you're looking at the information in that documentation as well. And then the big one, of course, is that you want to note the deadline. You usually have 60 days to respond, but acting within 30 days is going to give you more protection. You don't want to mess around with those deadlines because they will take action even if you don't respond, and ignoring it can just make a bad situation significantly worse. Now, one thing we know is that you have a couple of different options. You can appeal the decision if you genuinely believe that overpayment is wrong or that the amount is incorrect. If you're going to go that route, you need to explain why they made a mistake. This is your best option when you have proof that their facts are wrong, or you reported changes on time, or the amount just doesn't match reality and you're not sure what they're even talking about. Now, another option is to request a waiver. You can choose this when you can't afford to repay and the overpayment wasn't your fault. In some cases, the Social Security Administration may completely forgive the entire debt if you qualify. This is a great option when you're low income and that repayment would cause a significant hardship, especially if you acted in good faith and did your part and they made the mistake. If you were relying on the information that they gave you, then you didn't do anything wrong, and you may have a good chance of getting that waiver. Now, another thing you can do at the very least is set up a repayment plan. You can choose this if you don't want to jump through the hoops of a waiver, but you also can't afford to pay it back at the high amounts that they would normally take out of your check. This lets you negotiate a lower rate, which can in some cases be as low as $10 a month, which is significantly better than losing 50% or more of your check. So this is best when you agree that you were overpaid, you see what happened, maybe you didn't report a thing, but you can't afford small payments and you just don't want to deal with the waiver. So I don't work with Social Security and I'm not a lawyer, but personally, if I was in this situation, I would appeal it if I didn't think anything had actually gone wrong, request a waiver if at least I know I didn't do anything wrong. And then if maybe I messed something up, then you request the repayment plan, right? But that would be the way I would approach that. Now, it's important to remember your deadlines here. The clock starts ticking on the date on the letter, not even necessarily the date you received it. It starts on the date printed on that overpayment notice. So you need to make sure you're paying attention and counting from that day specifically. You have usually 30 days to stop collections and 60 days to file an appeal. And then if you need a waiver, you may be able to file it after that time, but it always gets more complicated because by then they're probably already collecting money out of your check. So you need to make sure that you're acting fast and basing those deadlines off of the date that is printed on the letter. Now, how you do this is if you want to appeal, you're going to need Form SSA-561-U2. That's the official form to appeal a Social Security overpayment decision. At this point, you're asking them to review your determination and reconsider whether the overpayment is correct. You'll need to clearly explain why you believe the overpayment is wrong. You'll need to attach any documentation you have that could support your case, include dates or facts that prove your point. Keep your explanation honest and straightforward, and then you can file that online or bring that paper into your Social Security office, okay? When you submit your thing, you always want to have some sort of proof that you submitted that, whether that's a receipt or a confirmation number or a screenshot or whatever. Now, if you're going to request a waiver, you're going to want Form SSA-632-BK because that is the form for waivers. If the overpayment is under $2,000, you may also be able to request that waiver by phone as well. When you're filing the waiver, it's best to prove that you're not at fault, right? You need to state that you either reported changes when you were required to, you relied on what the Social Security Administration told you, or you didn't know about the error. You need to show that you acted in good faith here. You also need to show financial hardship. You may need to provide proof of your income and expenses, such as your rent, utilities, food, medications, medical costs, and so on. You need to be able to show that that repayment would leave you unable to afford your basic necessities, or they may assume that you can afford to repay it. Now, it also helps to submit supporting documents as well. The more documentation you have, the stronger your case, right? Now, the Social Security Administration will review your request and make a decision. Many waivers are approved, especially when financial hardship is clear and you weren't at fault. That doesn't mean that you can't file a waiver, even if maybe you were at fault. It just means you're going to have better odds that way. Now, if you agree to repay but you need lower payments, that'll be Form SSA-634-BK. And this one is titled Request for Change in Overpayment Recovery Rate. Because normally, Social Security Administration is going to withhold up to half of your monthly check. And that is painful. But you can help prevent that by filing this form, asking for a lower repayment. You could have it lowered to as little as $10 a month. And that's going to let you keep more of the money that you need for your essentials like food, rent, and medicine. Now, if you no longer get benefits, you can still set up a monthly payment plan as well, and that's going to help pause those collection efforts. Now, you need to make sure that you're making those agreed upon payments in time because you don't want to deal with the debt collections that could happen as a part of that. Now, what if you get this waiver and you just don't do anything? I know that's an instinct for a lot of people to kind of bury your head in the sand and just not deal with it because it's too much. And I get that, and I am so sorry, but that's when that 50% default amount comes in. They don't need you to respond to start taking those benefits away. So you need to act to defend yourself and to advocate for yourself in this system. So if you don't file an appeal within 30 days, the Social Security Administration can just start taking money out of your check, up to half of your payment, guys. If you no longer receive benefits, they don't care. They'll take that money out of your tax refunds, your wages, or other payments through the Treasury Offset Program. They have a lot of different means. And then that can lead to financial hardship, damages to credit reports, legal collections, all sorts of other things. Okay? You should never just wait and hope that it goes away. You should take action, even if that's just asking questions to figure out what you need to do. Please don't just ignore this thing. Now, if it's more than you can deal with on your own, there are ways that you can get assistance. You can go to the local Social Security office. You can go to your local legal aid organizations. You can call the area agency on aging. If you're elderly or disabled, they can help you find resources that may be able to assist you through this. And of course, there's always the Social Security Administration hotline as well. Now, ultimately, you need to act quickly. You need to use clear, honest explanations. You need to gather relevant documentation, and you need to ask for help if you're feeling overwhelmed. I cannot overstate how important this is. Okay? There is help out there. You just need to go get it. I hope that this information has been helpful to you. If you find yourself in a pinch, our sponsor Free Cash offers a great app that can help you make money playing games, taking surveys, and more. You can download that. It's not going to replace your Social Security benefits by a long shot, and I would never expect it to make up half your check. But it's a great way to supplement with a little extra if you need some extra support in the meantime. So go check them out, and I will be back soon with more ways that you can save money and get free stuff, and I'll see you there.